So good evening, friends. So today I'll be talking on a 50-second COVID-19 update. The topic is antibody cocktail, which is called Regeneron. So I'm sure many of the listeners would be aware. So this cocktail is being released or it's already launched in India by Cipla. So the date is 21st March 2021. I'm sure many of the listeners would be aware that this cocktail was used in the first wave in US president. So that's when it got popularized. So we'll just look into the science of this whole antibody cocktail. So this particular trial came in NEJM on 21st Jan 2020. So that title is Regeneron COVID-2, a neutralizing antibody cocktail in outpatients with COVID-19. So basically in this study, they used two types of antibodies against the virus, and they found whether it was effective. So the two antibodies they used was casirivimab and imdevimab. So basically, these antibodies target the spike protein. So they target a domain called receptor binding domain, which is present on the spike protein and neutralizes. So there are three receptor binding domains which has been described. So this is the spike protein which is present on the COVID virus, and it has this small little receptor binding domain against which these antibodies tend to go and bind, and so this is how the virus looks after the antibodies bind to this spike protein. So what does this binding of these antibodies to the spike protein do? Basically, it prevents the entry of virus into the cells. And it has been shown that these antibodies are even effective against any of the mutant strains that are evolving. And I'm sure many of you are hearing about all the mutant strains that are causing more havoc in the second wave. So these antibodies are found to be effective against the mutant strains. And as I said, by having these antibodies binding to the receptor binding domain of these spike proteins, the entry of these virus into the cells is prevented. So this is how they tend to act. And this is the typical molecular structure as to how these antibodies act. So you have this class 1 and class 2 and class 3 receptor binding domain against which these antibodies go and bind and prevents entry of virus into the cells. So that is in brief as to how these antibodies literally, basically they're antibodies. So they block the entry of virus into the cells. So that's as simple as that. So how did they go about doing this study? So there were two antibodies which they named as casirivimab and imdevimab. So they compared placebo versus, there were two doses that they used in this particular study, 2.4 grams of Regeneron COVID-2 and 8 grams of Regeneron COVID-2. So these were the dosages they used, and basically they tried to compare whether higher dose had any superior efficacy as compared to the lower dose. And basically these antibodies produce this endogenous immune response against the virus. So what was the endpoints they looked? So endpoints, they followed these patients after administration from day 1 to day 7, and they looked at the change in the viral load that happened from day 1 to day 7 after they administered these antibodies. And they also looked at percentage of patients who had to visit the hospital or who had to seek a consult in the hospital within day 29. So these were some of the endpoints they looked at. So the inclusion criteria in this was age more than 18 years, and they had to be COVID positive within 72 hours for randomization to happen. So this is very important for listeners, which need to be borne in mind, because once these antibodies are out, so here in this particular study, they use these antibodies within the onset of symptoms within 7 days. So basically, the symptom onset should have been within 7 days. So which means these antibodies are effective in the early part of the disease. So that's the point I wish to re-emphasize, because that is where it tends to have maximal efficacy, where viral replication is happening and you need to prevent their entry into the cells. And another important aspect of this particular study was they did the antibodies at the baseline to see if any of the patients had any of the antibodies before they're randomized into the study. So they looked at IgA antibodies, IgG antibodies, and they looked at antibodies against the nucleocapsid protein. As you know, the COVID virus has this spike protein and the nucleocapsid protein. So they looked at antibodies against this nucleocapsid as well. So these were some of the criteria. So the results, so they had these three arms, and the number of patients in these arms, placebo, it had 93 patients, and the low dose cocktail had 92 patients, and the high dose cocktail had 92 patients. So they were equally distributed between these three groups. And here, if you look, the median viral level, where so when they took the patient group where antibodies were negative, so they tended to have higher viral copies in them. So this is just a logical thing, that in someone who's not had an antibodies at the baseline, the viral load in the body was much higher in placebo group and in antibody. And in patients where antibodies were negative at the baseline, they found that the need for visiting the hospital was higher in this patient group, which stood at 15%. So basically, no antibodies, higher is the viral load, higher is the viral load, greater is the need for the patients to go to hospital for seeking a consult. And in patients who are antibody positive, so when the virus has attacked an individual and antibody production is already there, they found the viral copies, the viral load was significantly low, 3.49 log copies per ml. And these patients where antibodies were already generated, or there was endogenous antibody response at the initial stage only, the patients going or necessitating the need for hospital visit was significantly less, was 2% as compared to 15%. So this was something which they found. And at the baseline, 45% of them had antibody positive. And these were the patients who did not visit, or the viral load was very low, and the need for going to hospital was less. So this was one of the findings that the authors have emphasized. And another important aspect of this trial was, so in the group which got this antibody cocktail, the largest treatment effect was found in the group which had a highest viral load. I will show you the statistics of that. So basically, someone has a higher viral load, so this cocktail was more effective and had a better treatment effect. And that's when you have to look at absolute numbers, where in a patient group where antibodies were initially negative and that had a very high viral load of 10 to 7 copies per ml, so there was a greater reduction in this virus at day 7 when these cocktails were administered. So this is what they found in the study. I'll show you the absolute numbers. So they had this 277 patients, so 93 in the placebo group. And when you combine this low dose and the high dose, they had 184. So when you look at the change in the viral load, it as compared to the placebo, it was minus 0.56 log copies per, which means there was a reduction in 0.56 log copies per ml. And as you see, the confidence interval is statistically significant. And percentage of patients needing hospital visits was 3% in cocktail group as opposed to 6% in the placebo group. And when they looked at antibodies which are negative at baseline, placebo group had antibody negative, had more patients as compared to the cocktail group. And the hypersensitivity reactions were similar between the two groups. So here you have the numbers depicting the change in the viral load in the low dose and high dose. So the key thing why they combined and presented in the results was there was no significant difference in the reduction in the viral load between the low dose and the high dose. So low dose was as good as high dose in its ability to reduce the viral load. As you see, it's in the placebo, it was minus 0.25. In the 2.4 groups, it was minus 0.52. And in 8 grams, it was minus 0.6. And as you see, the confidence interval tended to be significant in these groups. So all in all, so if you see, so this is the reduction in the viral load at day 7 in this group. So this is an interesting thing. So in patients where your antibodies were negative at the baseline, which means when the antibodies are negative, you would assume their viral load is more. And these are the patients who have not mounted an immune response. The ability of this cocktail to reduce the viral load was much better as opposed to the group where antibodies were already positive, because we saw in the results first slide that in the group where antibodies were initially positive or endogenous immune response is better at the outset, the viral copies were less in them. So here the antibodies really did not make a huge difference in reducing the viral copies because the viral copies were already low by the endogenous antibodies. So again, to re-emphasize, this antibody cocktail seems to be very effective in patients where initial endogenous immune response is negative, they have higher viral copies and they tend to have more severe course, it had a better effect in reducing the viral load. And here again, this slide emphasizes, so where your viral copies are 10 to the power of 4, the effect was not huge. But in patients where the viral load is very high, which is more than 10 to the power of 6 copies, you see the effect of this antibody cocktail in reducing the viral load. So this green and blue uh, is the lines which denote the antibody cocktail effect. So was significantly less as compared to the placebo group. So there is a re-emphasis on the fact that this cocktail seems to be more effective in patients where initial endogenous immune response is lacking, and these are the patients who have higher viral load, and cocktail seems to be more effective in these patients. So this is what is emphasized throughout this whole article. And when you look at the adverse events, as I said, the adverse reactions you would expect is the hypersensitivity reactions, which seems to be similar in both groups. And as you see, the death doesn't seem to have existed in any of these groups. So let us look into pharmacokinetics of these antibody cocktails. So they tried to see whether these antibodies that were administered exogenously really lasted long or for a very short time. And they found that day 29 concentration of casirivimab and imdimimab was pretty good at 68 plus or minus 45.2 milligrams per liter. And when they took the combined concentration, for low dose, the concentration was 219 milligram per liter. For high dose, it was 181. So which again goes on to show, as we saw, the ability of the low dose to reduce the viral load was as good as higher dose. And even when you look at day 29 concentration, there is no decay in the low dose or compared to the high dose, which means to say this study literally points out the fact that low dose seems to be as good as the high dose. So that is another point the listeners can bear in mind. So in the discussion, again, this antibody cocktail helps in eliminating the virus where your initial endogenous immune response is lacking. So there are this distinct group of individuals who do not mount the endogenous immune response at the outset. And these are the patients who have a higher viral load. And this antibody cocktail seems to be effective in enhancing the clearance. So when I read this article, it put a thought in my mind. So right now there is a huge burden in our country with regards to the patients suddenly deteriorating, and we are not able to really identify the patients who may deteriorate. So it sort of compels me to believe that maybe measuring the viral copies, because identifying this patient group where viral copies are very high. So if there is a way we are able to determine the viral load in the patients, maybe that may indicate as who are the patients who will distinctly progress to the more severe form. And these are the patients who may possibly benefit from maybe either this antibody cocktail or interferons, which we have seen and which are the new molecules in which are out in the market. And it is also shown that when there is an increase in the viral load, it has a direct bearing on increasing in the risk of death. Again, emphasizing that measuring the viral load in a patient may be a way forward in trying to ascertain who are the patients who are going to deteriorate. And it has also been shown that the presence of antibodies, when there are already presence of endogenous immune response with the antibodies, the clinical response with these cocktails are minimal. So again, re-emphasizes when we have to contemplate on using these cocktails, it is imperative for us to know whether these patients are someone who have not mounted endogenous immune response where the viral load is high, or the group where it may not be effective, where their endogenous immune response is mounted and the viral copies are low. So again, in discussion, they emphasize on the fact if the antibodies are already present endogenous, then the clinical response will be minimal with use of these cocktails. Then the question arises in listeners' mind, how about convalescent plasma? Because convalescent plasma is also giving antibodies, but they have compared and they found that the neutralizing antibodies that are administered are 1,000 times more than that what is identified in giving this convalescent plasma. Again, goes on to show this cocktail seems to have a more potent antibody levels in patients who have higher viral load. And this antibody cocktail seems to be, have a more potent antibody levels when compared to the convalescent plasma. And it is shown the very quick ability to reduce the viral load within 48 hours by use of this cocktail. And another advantage, distinct advantage is, as opposed to any other things, it has a longer half-life, and that was shown that even at day 29, the concentrations were very good, and which tends to hypothesize that they may have a role in long-term passive immunity. So another fact that after I read this manuscript, so in 49th update, we had reviewed the interferons, where so until now the narrative has been very forthcoming, very positive, and very compelling. But this lambda interferon study that came in Lancet, which we reviewed, has compared this Regeneron with pegylated interferon lambda, and they found that the viral response at day 7 with Regeneron was what we discussed, 0.51, but with pegylated interferon lambda, the reduction in the viral was much, much higher, almost more than 20 times higher at 7.17 log copies per ml. And so was the case with other neutralizing antibodies. So this again raises the question, when you have a choice between interferon lambda and the antibody cocktail, at least if you have to subscribe to the science available now, interferon lambda seems to be more effective, but we do not know if interferon alpha 2b, which is released recently in our country, whether they hold the same promise. So the questions are still out there. So the conclusions that the authors made in this particular study, which came in NEJM, was this antibody cocktail called Regeneron COVID-2 reduces the viral load, and this reduction had a greater effect in clearing the virus where your initial endogenous immune response. So this is the point listeners should take home, that in patients who do not mount an immune response, this antibody cocktail was found to have a greater effect. And these are the patients which have a higher viral load. And these are the patients where this antibody cocktail was more effective. Again, re-emphasizing, maybe the future of tackling this pandemic is to measure viral copies in patients. And if you have identified the patients where viral copies are high and they have not mounted antibody response, these are the patients who may benefit possibly from antibody cocktail or from the interferons. Otherwise, we would be administering in a patients where your antibody response may be good, and where they have a good endogenous immune response, and we may be wasting resources by administering these cocktails to these patients. And the safety outcome was found to be similar between placebo. So it is reasonably safe to use these cocktails, at least from scientific standpoint. They did not have serious adverse events. So thank you all. So I end with this beautiful quote: health is not just about what you're eating, it's also about what you're thinking and saying. So thank you, friends. So if you wish to rehear to this lecture, you can visit my website, www.drpradeeprangappa.com, and rehear to this to gain clarity. Thank you all.